Hello. This is Kevin from Exploring the Games, and I'll be playing Wandness, Craft Survivor. This game is developed by Night Owl Games and I believe published by Binary Lunar. And as you can tell by the game's title, it is a survivors-like game. I just want to go over my thoughts on this game. I've played a little bit over 2 hours, and I think I've developed a decent opinion of what the game is and what it holds afterwards. So for anybody that wants to play a survivors game without meta progression, and there is audience for that, as seen from Brotato and the recently released Megabunk, this game has that for you. There's no meta progression in this game. There's more so only unlocks, which is you unlock components which will give modifiers, buffs and such to wands, which is your equipment, or projectiles, which will change what your wand shoots out, such as a sword, such as mines, spears, things like that. But there's no meta progression in the sense of attack speed, movement speed, pickup range, or anything like that. There are different classes in this game. Each class will have the type of projectiles that they can spawn and their own stats that will show you what they're good for, what they're not good for, such as how the Infernal Berserker is more for melee. As you can see, all the projectiles he gets are melee rate. I feel like I'll go for the Wanderer, that's just base character. Something that really did puzzle me was how you need to play more than a couple of runs to unlock survival. So in this game, you pick between adventure, which is like a Slay the Spire type of map, pick a route, go up, go middle, go down and such until you reach the end. And survival is what everybody knows survivor games for, which is you go into a level, you fight for 20 minutes, sometimes 15, 30, whatever, but in here is 20 minutes and then you're done. It's really weird that they would just put a wall for entry basically to access survival game. I know Rogue Genesia, I don't know if I'm saying that name correctly, does have both options, but if I remember correctly, because it's been some time, survival is open from the get-go and so is adventure. So it is pretty weird to do this. Adventure mode is just Slay the Spire, so there's going to be a route you pick where you want to go, and that'll dictate your future path. Campfire heals you, Blacksmith allows you to upgrade and I believe reroll components. I think Wizard does the same as well. You can buy items. Blacksmith, you can buy items too, but the difference is you can upgrade items here. You can't upgrade them here, I believe. They're very similar except for that one thing. As you can see, you just go to the end and then there's the boss. What I will say is I also wish I could see what these icons mean. I wish I could just mouse over, which I'm not allowed, and just see like the ghost means that waves of ghosts is going to be appearing and across the map. And I believe, and I don't remember pretty well, I think that the bigger enemy icon means that there's going to be elite enemies. But for my 2 hours of gameplay, I don't really feel like this game is bringing anything new to the table. And for a $7 price point, it feels like this could have been a bit more. It feels somewhat like an early access game that still needs maybe a couple of, I don't know, months or more updates. Just from how this feels, the character, how they move, the dodging, the visuals in general, it being too, I don't know if the word is bloomy or glossy, it just doesn't feel like right, especially with those creatures being so shiny. The game doesnn't feel unique. The gameplay, as you can see right now, is pretty barren, even though it is the first level. But this is the only interesting thing about this game, the wand system. Just like how Goobies, which is another survivors game, was all about modifying your projectiles, and that was made unique. What makes this game unique is the wand system and the auto battler synergies that you can do. So as you can see, there are sets for the elements, the classes, and the projectiles. Every time you get a number of the same class and elements and projectiles, you'll get buffs, such as for this class, the Berserker class, you raise damage and decrease cooldown for all ones per health percentage missing. And for elements, just getting one burn enemies over time, but if you get two, you leave fire pits when walking around. So there is that auto battler thing, and I think that's cool and unique. It is a fun mechanic to have in a survivors game, but it also doesn't feel like enough. And just to make this clear, I'm probably not the norm. I've played way too many of these survivors like games. I'm a big fan of them, and that's why when I play this, it doesn't grab my attention. As I play this, hopefully you may be able to see this, or you might disagree with me even in the end. Oh, and before I forget to mention, so the components can come in all shapes and sizes. They'll be for projectile size, they'll be for cooldown, attack damage, dash counts, I believe. They'll also have these effects where they can affect previous one. So for example, projectile size increase and it will affect the previous one, so it'll also affect this, making the sword bigger. And as far as I can tell, when it comes to wands, basic one, I don't think it has any modifier. Damage one has more damage, and swift ones will give you extra dashes and increased dash distance. So there is some variety in all these things, but in the end, it felt like I was playing, all my runs were very basically the same. I can't say it's not unexpected. I've done very like the same runs in a lot of my survivor, on the other survivor games that I've played, but I guess the word is just not satisfying. Like when I hit a creature, it doesn't feel, I don't feel the oomph. The music is, I don't know if the word is that it feels faded, that's just not upbeat enough. It just doesn't feel like it's hyping me. I will go for electricity, why not? See, so now when they hit, it'll split to different projectiles. And again, that's what's very cool about the wand system. Like you can modify the projectiles. The wands will have their own buffs that the wands per se is just to give like either crit chance, crit damage, but modifying your projectiles to make them bigger, smaller, I mean not small, but modifying your projectiles to make them bigger to deal more damage, I believe it's very cool. So my biggest gripe for this game is not that, it's a couple of things besides what I've spoken about, the presentation, visually, how it sounds, and so forth. My biggest gripe is when there's so many other survivor-like games in the market, you have to do something else to stand out. It doesn't feel like this game is trying to do anything different or anything that would catch my attention as somebody that is played so many of these games, and I follow so many people on their social media platforms where they post like I'm making a survivors like game and all that stuff, and I've seen people have like either perspective switches, always being in a vehicle or a boat, and I've seen, for example, Megamon just came out that has momentum and a 3D like perspective, so you can jump over people and all that, 3D platforming basically. Vampire Hunter is a first-person survivors-like game. Nautical Survival and Pest Apocalypse, you're in a vehicle, so you're always constantly moving and going. And Pest Apocalypse has you delivering pizza the whole time. And Nautical Survivor tied its upgrade system to like little islands around the area. And I can go on different survivor-like games that have been doing some things that are different. I can't say that this is trying to do anything different, more so just, I don't want to say like, it just sounds, it's a game that's not really trying, which is why I feel like this game can get lost in the ocean of survivor-like games, or yeah, survivors games. I can't say there's anything unique about this game that can draw you in, and sometimes it doesn't necessarily have to be the gameplay, because for example, again, I'll say Past Apocalypse, I'm horrible at that game. I've played it a lot, more than a couple of hours, but I keep coming back because specifically the music is really good in that game. It's really dope. But in here, I kind of don't get like what would bring somebody back to this. Because even when it comes to grinding out a lot of things and like acquiring like either weapons or characters or something, this feels just like, not to be me, it feels like a generic survivors game. There's not much that can draw in like a bunch of people, a crowd, or you know, there's nothing unique about this game except the wand system, and that's not enough. There was this one time where I tapped out while moving up and my character just kept walking up. So this game is a little bit buggy. I've gotten sets when I didn't have 6 of the same element, or the ones I still got the sets. I've gotten stuck just running and I couldn't do anything. My health sometimes didn't match the actual health that I had. The game is a little bit fairly buggy, and that's why I also say that this game also feels like it needed a little bit more time, because presentation wise feels very barren. The bugs are a little weird, a little bit game breaking, and I think the worst part about this game is that once you reach the end, there's no big boss or anything like that. I think there's just like a couple of 4 bosses that you will fight on your way there, but there's no big different boss, like nothing unique, which kind of makes you feel like, well, there was nothing to hype about. I could see this game being enjoyable for somebody who isn't that, let's say, I would say somebody that hasn't really hasn't frequently played survivor-like games, but there's so many better options, or even options that are more different, that you can see that somebody put a little more effort into standing out and bringing up a unique vision, because again, this is a game that could be lost in the sea of survivor-like games. Like there's nothing that can really make this stand out. Hopefully this gameplay and commentary helps you get a better picture as to why I believe this game is like a solid 0.5 or 2 out of 5, and hopefully it comes up as reasonable. Again, I'm not bashing the game, I'm not bashing the developer, but it's just an observation. I honestly don't think there's anything extremely wrong with Wandness. Kind of just wish it had a little bit more, for lack of a better word, sauce. A lot of the survivor-like games, that's what they thrive on, like that. Their presentation, their music, their visuals, their explosion. I mean, that's why everybody loves Vampire Survivors. It looked pretty cool. It was very simple. When you open a chest, like fireworks go off. But this game is lacking a lot of that attraction. I believe Wandness does have a lot of potential with its wand mechanic, but right now it does feel like an early access project. It feels like it's still like in the early stages. So there are a lot of better options out there that feel more full. And that's it. Thank you very much for watching. If you like this video, please comment, like, and subscribe. And if you disagree with anything that I said, please let me know in the comments. I also do need to clarify, I did receive a key to provide this video through Keymailer, and I greatly appreciate it that devs gave me this opportunity. And again, thank you everybody for watching.